Yeah, okay, I kind of lost you there because I didn't really. The network was kind of bad, but on this issue of Mourinho, nobody's right, nobody's wrong, but we just, like Chimamaka said, we just hope to get out of this form that they are in. Kane comes back and Mourinho is able to stick back to the formation that has been giving him the winning formula. Like you said, you don't have to play good football, you don't have to play sexy football, but what the owners or what the directors want is just for them to win a trophy. But so we'll move straight. We saw what happened. The red cards, 4 players were red carded, 2 Arsenal players and 2 Southampton players were red carded during the game week 22. That of Ben Leno, silly from Ben Leno to have been red carded. But there's a bit of contradiction with, or kind of like, people didn't really that decision made by the referee. I've forgotten his name now. His name have escaped my mind. But like we all know, the news is out there on social media everywhere. Craig Pawson, I don't know if I got this right. Craig Pawson, the guy that officiated Arsenal Wolves at the Molineux, sorry, and also Mike Dean officiated Southampton Manchester United. But we saw the red card that was given to Bednarek and David Lewis. A lot of talking points, triple threat, double jeopardy, guys. We know a lot of people have said so many things about it, but just in a minute, can we touch this? Was that red card the one for Lewis? Was it worth it? Because later they've come out to say the one for Bednarek, they called it off, but the one of Lewis still stands. Do you think it's fair on Arsenal? Chimamaka, you can start.
Okay, good. I don't know how to actually put that. For David Luiz, I'm a Chelsea fan. It seemed good, but from a footballing angle, I did not see what David Luiz. I didn't get to see any contact that was made by David Luiz for that red card, that straight red to be given to him. In my own opinion, I was forced to watch that match for another 90 minutes again, and I'm still looking for the contact that was made. I watched YouTube videos. Should David Lewis
have just gone straight for a tackle, like wipe the guy out, wipe him out from behind?
Then we know he's deserving of that, but I didn't get to see nothing. And it's more like, with the weather over there, it's raining over there. It's very possible somebody slipped, or one person slipped, or picked a wrong foot, and it's all caused a serious chaos for us now. Sorry, they were on the receiving end of the whole thing. David Luiz red card was not ended after being for, and I'm surprised why that. In fact, I was listening to somebody, a former referee, saying the decision would still have to stand. They only they have the reasons why that has to stand. Bednarek's one was resented, and he's still going to you have to play the next game for them. But for that of David Luiz, I'm still yet to see what's going on there. I need the mathematics to be solved in my present no, it's true. I need to be convinced how that actually was a red card. I don't know if Ope saw something different, but I don't know what you have to say.
Ope, should Craig Pawson have gone to the screen, to the monitor screen by the side of the pitch, to have looked at the whole situation and check, even if he has been told from the guys that sit in the office, called the VAR officials, should he have even made an attempt to have checked on the screen side monitor to see what the issue is?
Look, FIFA standard VAR procedure, once you have a tricky issue, once you have to make a certain call, you do go and consult the pitch side monitor. It's only in the Premier League where you see that, look, referees do not go and consult the pitch side monitor. And I don't know why that continues to happen. Before the start of this season, FIFA put out a statement that every league will conform to FIFA standard VAR rules. And I'm wondering why the Premier League is still defaulting in that aspect. The Premier League forms their own rules. The Premier League always modifies their own rules and regulations, and it is simply a problem. It is simply appalling. all the years that we've been having this VAR in the English Premier League, it is one issue or the other.
I think it has
But
made
we don't have
officiating
this
even
problem.
worse. It has made officiating really worse.
It has made officiating worse because we've not heard about issues in Spain, Italy, Germany, France. When we have FIFA organized competitions, we don't have these problems. But when it comes to the English Premier League, we have this problem. Look, as a neutral, the decision was wrong, absolutely wrong. I'll tell you why. Now, if this was last season or any year back, I would say definitely that was a straight red card. That was a stupid decision by David Luiz. I would say, look, once there is contact with the last man who is goal on sight, any last contact, that is a straight red card because that is the way football is meant to be. Now, that was the initial thought I had. Up until we found out that, you know what, the rules had actually been changed.
Yeah.
There are new rules which do say that contact is not enough. Now at halftime, Craig Paulson did say that, assuming David Luiz attempted to make a tackle, assuming David Luiz actually made proper contact, he would have been given a yellow card instead, according to the new rules. That's what would have happened. But then David Luiz did not even attempt to take the ball. Neither did David Luiz attempt to make a tackle on Willian Jose. What happened was that Willian Jose was attacking the ball. He was preparing to shoot, and then his left leg made contact with David Luiz's right knee, and then he fell. That's exactly what happened. But then, you know, the most bizarre thing is that Craig Paulson still did not bother to go and consult the pitch side monitor. He was so convinced.
Yeah.
One other comment Craig Paulson did make at halftime was like, "Oh, it's David Luiz. He's done it before."
But I think
So,
we don't have facts to back that up. There's no facts to back that up. So let's just don't come up with any conspiracy theory here. But you know, you shared something on the WhatsApp group that really got my attention. The rules that have been changed. So I will just read it as on the screen. The previous triple punishment rule meant that a player who denied a goal scoring opportunity was automatically red carded and handed a suspension, as well as giving away a penalty. However, the law has now changed so that players committing accidental fouls that deny a goal scoring opportunity are not automatically sent off but cautioned instead. For me, the penalty should have stayed. The penalty should have, the decision for the penalty correct. But the red card was where the issue for me really is, because Craig Paulson even didn't go to the side monitor to even look at different angles. And there's been Arsenal fans, they've come up with a petition that they don't want Craig Paulson to officiate any of the matches anymore. Same as Southampton, they raised the petition, they don't want Mike Dean to officiate any of the match anymore. But is it in their powers to decide that? Well, really, we don't know. But I think we should just move on this topic, because the decision has already been given. Luiz would have to miss tomorrow's match against Aston Villa, and Bednarek would have to play against Newcastle in the next match, but which is sad for Arsenal. But we just have to move on because of time. So we'll move straight to Liverpool. Liverpool. It's really concerning for Liverpool. Liverpool that we saw last season, that impressive run after 30 years winning the title, and now we see Liverpool really having successive defeats at Anfield. Chimamaka, 68 matches they've won there back to back, the winning streak. They've not lost any, but now suddenly the loss to Sheffield, the loss to Burnley, and yesterday the loss to Brighton, or the before is the loss to Brighton, Hove, and Albion. Is this good for Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah, it's good for everybody. Everybody in the EPL is good for everybody. It tells you that the competition. Yeah, that's my opinion. It's good for Jurgen Klopp. It's good for everybody. Now I can remember at the beginning of the season when we invited Abi to come talk football with us. He said so many things being a Liverpool fan, and yeah, they in the past few years they've been able to make Anfield the fortress.
Yeah,
but
true.
That has been broken, and it's not like it was broken today and they decided to start building up a fortress again. It was broken today, and the next time they would get to Anfield, they threw an atomic bomb to destroy the entire place. So, which means it's a home for all now as it stands. Now, for footballing answers, I'll give that to you. Now, Jurgen Klopp might have failed, or I believe even every Liverpool player and Liverpool fan have believed that Anfield is actually a fortress, forgetting the fact that it's a competition and there is no respecter of home and away in any football match. And let's not forget, look at the guys who are actually beating them at Anfield. It's not the so-called Manchester Cities or the Manchester Uniteds or the Chelsea or Tottenham. These are hungrier guys who are much more hungrier and in the best position to beat this team. Now, this is what we are saying. Last season, remember, it was Watford who spoiled their unbeaten run. Yeah. And it was not just a throwaway beating, it was a good one. So as it stands, it's the EPL. Klopp will all he has to do is go back to drawing board and see what has to be corrected. But no matter the correct, I can guarantee you that there is no home in the EPL that's going to be a fortress. Everybody is destined to be beaten at home. It's the EPL.
Yeah, as far as fans are not back in the stadium, look, there's nothing like a home game. There's nothing like an away game. It's just about you coming to the match with the mentality to win and wanting to do good. So, look, you can't just say because you're at home, you don't expect to get beaten. It's not going to happen at all. Look, I really wish Fabi was here. I would have loved to banter him and ask him, oh yeah, so much of a fortress here. So look, Anfield is not that fortress anymore. It's just all about who is more hungry. And kudos to Brighton. Let's not just talk about the fact that Liverpool lost at home. Brighton played good football. That goal that was scored by Alzate was a very good team goal, which was capped off by him. So kudos to Brighton. They have been playing good football this season. They did deserve the win. It's as simple as that.
Still on Liverpool, would we say racking up 98 and 97 points consecutively in 2 seasons with a style of play, which is the gang person, could it be a factor that has made them fatigued or make them physically tired? Because really, it's not going to be easy playing that kind of high press game for 2 consecutive seasons, and you still expect to go the 3rd season. Could that be a factor that is affecting Liverpool? Chimamaka?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I wouldn't outrightly rule it out as fatigue. Yes, high press play of football is actually very fast. From the back all through the front, it's very fast-paced football. Now, fatigue, I would definitely set in. And you have these players who you have used for 2 to 3 consecutive seasons. What happens with such kind of thing is more like it's just like an engine park. The moment you need rotation, you have to grease it. So what Liverpool needs is that greasing, which means infusing players of like minds, players that can be groomed to cover for all those spots. Like at the beginning of the season, we are all talking about Firmino, who had issues. Yes, thank God he's doing well now. We saw Salah at some point at the beginning of the season not playing well. Now we saw the injuries that set in for Liverpool and the likes. As it stands, yes, fatigue will have to set in. There is no way, you cannot escape it. Why? Because of the amount of competitions that are being played in English football. Let's not forget we have Europe there to also contend with. So yes, it is a part of it. It's what is going to cause them to have this breakdown here and there. I'm sorry for them this season. I'm sorry about the whole thing going on with them this season, but well, it's football, man. It's football. Everybody has a piece of the pie to share from the injuries.
Okay, just to touch on this, Van Dijk. I said Jurgen Klopp had the summer transfer, and also January they had to wait till the last day before they could sign the 2 central defenders that they signed. Van Dijk definitely was missing in terms of injury, based on the injury he had.
Yeah.
And could it be a systematic problem in terms of the style of play for Liverpool? Because past 2 seasons, or ever since Van Dijk joined Liverpool, we see that. For me, I don't know if you guys say the same thing. The style of play, Van Dijk to Robertson, Van Dijk to Alexander-Arnold, the square passing, and the two fullbacks tend to run and square the play, assist for a goal. But this season, ever since Van Dijk got injured, we don't see that style of play. There is no defender in that mode of Van Dijk to play that style of play in terms of diagonal passes to Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, and they bump forward, do the square play, and before you know it, the ball is at the back of the net. Could this be a factor that is affecting Liverpool this season?
Well, I wouldn't say that's a factor that's affecting Liverpool, because Jurgen Klopp actually realized that, you know what, we play a lot of football out from the back, being dependent on Virgil van Dijk. That's why Jurgen Klopp went ahead to buy a midfielder who can control the game. Talking about Thiago Alcantara. Now Thiago has been injured. Yeah, Thiago has been injured. He suffered from COVID-19.
I think Thiago,
but then he's back.
I think Thiago has. Sorry to cut you. I think Thiago has not really found himself in that team in terms of the way Liverpool should play.
No, really, I wouldn't agree with that. I would say the reason why you would have this thought currently is because Liverpool has not been playing very well. If you look at Thiago's individual gameplay, he has been consistent with the passes, stringing the passes, creating chances. He has been doing that. However, they haven't been converting. Divock Origi has not been the best when he has played in terms of converting chances. Same thing with Roberto Firmino. Roberto Firmino has not been clinical. And then just because you can't play Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane consistently, you need to rotate these players so that they are available for the most important games. So sometimes you don't see a lot of clinical finishing from Liverpool. And then I'm sure that's a major reason why someone like Takumi Minamino was allowed to go on loan to Southampton, because he needs games, he needs to get more in tune with the Premier League. But then the players currently on the field have not been doing fantastically well.
Yeah.
You then begin to wonder why they let someone like Ryan Brewster go. I believe if Ryan Brewster was given the chance, even though he hasn't scored a goal for Sheffield United yet, this is someone who would have taken the opportunity during this goal drought for some of the attackers.
Or he would have even given another dimension in terms of his style of play.
Exactly, well, given another dimension, and then you've got someone like Taiwo Awoniyi, who is yet to mark his debut for them. You've got someone like Sheyi Ojo, who is still out there as well. So, but then again, take nothing away from his current Liverpool squad. They are world-class players, and they are meant to be delivering. Now, one major thing which I have found out about the Liverpool squad, which I have seen over the years, or rather since they actually won the Champions League, there seems to be some sort of lackadaisical attitude. They seem to sometimes just take their foot off the gas a bit, and that's a huge problem for this Liverpool squad. Sometimes they don't come with the same intensity game in, game out. Now they are under pressure, and they are under pressure to perform. You take a look at someone like Gini Wijnaldum. Sometimes he's not in the game 110%. His body language says it all. That's someone that probably does not want to be in the squad. So it's Liverpool players that are actually been. Thiago coming into the squad has been able to kind of almost do the same thing on that in terms of putting the pass up there to the flanks and allowing players to cross in. But then, who is now there in the middle? Who is that physical presence in the middle for them? They don't have that. And Liverpool have suffered. 3 of their top first-team defenders are now out for the rest of the season. Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, and Joe Matip. Anderson and Fabinho have done well so far. The youngsters talking about Matt Phillips and Rhys Williams, they have tried deadline day finding Jonathan Davies and Oblak from Schalke 04. I really don't know how these players are going to adapt to the Premier League. I don't know the type of quality that they will ooze into this Liverpool squad. But however, one thing that Liverpool does need in that position is numbers and quality in numbers. Now, what will happen when the 3 top centre back and central defenders are back? That's going to be a healthy headache for your good club later in the future. However, I think the mentality of the team is the most important thing right now. They need to string up chances. They need to win games. And look, everyone needs to do better. That's just the most important.
Yeah. Yes, it's a big task. It's a big task for Jurgen Klopp, because this Sunday it's a win or bust. They have a match against Man City, and if they lose that game, I think that begins to show that the grip on the EPL is beginning to loosen, and I don't see them defending that EPL title. But you know, like they say, it's football. 90 minutes, anything can happen. So quickly looking at the games for this weekend, we just touch on the big games like we normally do. Aston Villa host Arsenal. That's an interesting match to watch. Manchester United host Everton as well. Tottenham Hotspur host West Bromwich Albion. That should be an easy win for Jose Mourinho despite Harry Kane out. Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Leicester City. Liverpool Manchester City, like I mentioned earlier. Sheffield United host Chelsea. That's another test for Thomas Tuchel because Sheffield United, they are battling for their lives, and it's going to be a scrappy, it's going to be a good game to watch. Let's see how Chelsea handles the pressure from the Blades. So I think on this note, we can just round off the podcast. It's been nice doing this with you guys, Ope and Chimamaka.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, guys.
Yep. Chimamaka, it's been nice doing this with you. Thank you very much. It's good having you on the podcast. It's good having you guys on the podcast. And I hope we do this again after the game week, match day 23. I hope we'll be back to review those games. And I hope Arsenal win. And I hope another bad luck don't come again. No players should get red carded. But from us here on FootyWit Podcast, we say thank you very much. Follow us on social media. We're on social media platform. We're on Twitter, Instagram. And also you can watch our videos on YouTube. Please subscribe and also share our content.